Hi, friends. Scott here. Want to let you know how I'm feeling and what I'm doing in terms of my thinking processes before I get ready to present my so called defects of character, whatever I've determined those to be over the last half a year, working through all the steps and getting to this seventh one, which is that I humbly go before God and present these shortcomings or defects of character or things that I just can't seem to shake and need help shaking. And I thought, what does glory mean? Because we hear, especially in churchy circles, we hear people saying all the time that I don't want the glory and let God have the glory. And so I was thinking about that, and I looked up some scriptures and tried to determine for my own head what that would mean. And what I found is I just looked in a concordance in the back of an old Bible and looked up glory and glorious and so on. And what I found was what appealed to me most and what made the most sense to me, and this is always the case, it's concrete things. It's things that I can relate to. That's the reason, the main reason, or the proof in the pudding that came home to me over a long period of time about the religious aspect of my life, or why I believe the way I do. Not religion, but why I believe, why I accept Jesus as the one and only true God that I understand, because he is a man. He lived and died and lived again and still lives. And I can grab hold of that concept because I was a man that stood with other men just like me, and was tempted just like me, and was always able to overcome these things, but much better than of course I ever would be able to. But anyway, that same the attributes of that man and the godliness of him, proven well over so much, so many times, and so powerfully about coming back and being seen by 500 people and just appearing and disappearing and appearing, and all the supernatural things that we wish we could do today, and maybe we can in that realm, but we don't seem to be able to do it here in this realm. However, that's the way I believe, and that's why it all came home to roost. And today, as I read all the different places where this word appears in Scripture, glory and glorious and so on, it mainly seemed to be around nature that I was able to identify the most. And when I thought of that, I thought of the wonder in this creation. I'm sitting in a graveyard, and that may be morbid to some people, but many of you have heard me say this many times. There's such peace in a graveyard, and you're often the only person in there. But there are always trees and grass, and of course gravestones. But the trees and the grass and the peace in this place makes me think of the type of glory that makes sense to me, and such that like raindrops on the greenest leaf, for instance, just after a storm, or the smell, the scent in the air, that purity that you only smell after a big storm, and these types of things, they just make so much sense to me, and I understand them, and I know only a wonderful, magnificent, second to nothing creator could be responsible for this, and the goings and the comings of the storms and the sun and the clouds and the moon and the stars, and all of these things we live through every day of our lives and every moment of our lives. And of course, the seasonal differences that we experience in this part of the world, here in Canada, and